All right, so it's mid-1990s. My wife, Michelle, and I had just started our family. We had our son, Sam, was 5 years old, and Terrell, a couple months younger than Sam, also 5. Michael, a year younger than the both, and Josette was a toddler. And Michelle was working long hours supporting our family of 6, and I was a stay-at-home dad. So even though we would often fantasize about traveling and meeting people from around the world, it wasn't going to happen. So I did the next best thing. I got a job in Hamtramck. Teaching ESL at Hamtramck High School a few evenings a week, and it was a great program. We had dozens of students from all these different countries. You know, we had a number of students from Poland and Yemen and Bangladesh, and back then, though, the biggest group was from the former Yugoslavia, because this was during the Bosnian War over in Europe, and we had Bosnian Croats, you know, Catholics, Bosnian Serbs, Orthodox, and Bosnian Muslims all in the same class, and you know, all the sides of the Civil War. And I love this job, but like most jobs that are a labor of love, it seemed no matter how much you gave, you always got more in return. And it was never more true than this one particular evening. I remember driving in to the job and alone in the car and feeling very disheartened and discouraged and not very hopeful because of a lot of different things. You know, just taking care of all those little kids is very hard, but on top of that, our son Sammy, the oldest, has autism and Tourette's, and he took as much energy and patience as at least 10 kids. I used to say that I used to think I was a patient person before Sam, and then I realized I had no idea what that word even meant. But Sammy taught me. And on top of that, he didn't even sleep through the night. He didn't regularly sleep through the night till he was about 8 or 9 years old. And if he was up, that means someone had to be up with him, which was usually me. And then that night I'm driving in, I hadn't had a good solid chunk of sleep in at least 3 nights. So, you know, when you're sleep deprived, everything seems much worse than what it is. You know, so I'm driving in and I'm worrying about bills and I'm feeling guilty that I'm not doing more to financially support our family, and I'm wondering, are we doing enough for Sammy, and had we done enough, and what about his future and all the attention we're giving to him? What is it doing to the other kids, and what the hell are we thinking about taking in more children? What the hell's wrong with us? So I go into work and I'm trying to get my head right to run class. I get there a little early to set things up, and a bunch of my students are already there, which is not unusual. You know, if you're a teacher and you want to teach motivated students, teach adult immigrants English. They come in after long days of low wages, coming in anxious to learn English. Hello, teacher. And I come into class and it's a bunch of my Bosnian students, and one of them looks like he's been crying. And I'll call him Hassan. And I ask what's wrong, and his sister-in-law gives me a telegram, and it says his cousin has been killed in the war. And she says, teacher, he's now 44 people killed in family. I can't imagine. Losing your home, losing your homeland, living halfway around the world in a strange country, losing dozens of members of your extended family in this insane war. And the Bosnian War was, like most wars, was totally avoidable. You know, it was started by powerful men who saw it in their short-term interest to fan the flames of ethnic and religious intolerance till it got away from them in this crazy multi-sided war. But on top of that, he also bore the scars on his head from, if I understood correctly, he had been left for dead in one of the mass killings. And on top of that, his wife suffered seizures that had begun during the bombardment in the war. And on top of that, they had a son who was the same age as our son Sammy, who was disabled, but he was severely disabled. He was failure to thrive. He was about the size of a 24-month-old, and he had all these medical needs. And I asked him, are you sure you want to stay for class? And he says, yes, teacher. So we're running class. During the break, I want to say something to him, and I know just the question to ask him that will lift his spirits. I said, how's your daughter? And he instantly grows a few inches taller, and his chest puffs out, and his teacher is good. He's all A in school. He's all A. He has a daughter who's a student at Hamtramck High School who, you know, I'd met a couple times when we'd had family and food celebrations, and she was bright and mature and represented to this family. I'd lost so much. The hope, despite everything, the hope for the future. And I thought, shit, they can have hope. What the hell? My little petty worries. So I'm driving home from class, and of course I'm alone in the car, and I start wallowing again in all these worries. But mostly I'm worried about what all this stress is doing to Michelle and our relationship. Because both of us know families, couples with kids with autism, who are under the stress of dealing with that, it has split the couple up. So I get home, I pull into the driveway, and I sit there for a few minutes. Because if you have anybody here as a child with autism, you know when you go in the house, you don't know what kind of chaos you're going to be facing. And it could be hilarious chaos, or it could be just chaotic chaos. So I sit there for a few minutes. I come in the side door and I smell dinner cooking, and Michelle's making me a late dinner. And she's read to all the kids and got them all tucked in bed, except for Sammy. I can hear him hooting and hollering and yelling. But he's not upset, he's just being Sammy. So I come to Michelle and I give her a hug, and I just hang on for 10, 20, 30 seconds. I finally let go and I say, thank you. And I'm thanking her for being such a wonderful partner in this crazy life we have. But in the back of my mind, I'm also thanking Hassan and his family for reminding me to appreciate all the good things that we have. And also reminding me that if there's life, there's always hope.